I was returning from my office. When I was driving back on my bike, there was a drunk auto rickshaw driver that hit me. When I woke up, I took an auto rickshaw to my home. Luckily, it was near to my home. And
in that situation, you
yes,
actually walked.
And you're taken on a stretcher with 4 people. It is like background mein se Ram Ram Satya missing it. Once the CT scan happened, the results came and the doctor knew exactly the amount of damage that has happened. And so I had this physical brace, a hard physical brace, which points your chin to your chest for almost 3 to 4 months of my life. I challenged doctor ki, okay, you watch. 3 months, I'll stop taking painkiller. 6 months, I start walking, no matter what. When I used to go to gym, I was never a gym head. Like, abhi logo ko lagta hoga Neeraj into gymming and
So you were not into gymming before?
No, I wasn't. It was very difficult for me. So I used to give up. It just gave birth to what I was, which I was never aware of.
Wow. But what kind of cool advice you would like to give that person, which will always stay with them?
जब आपका why आपके problem से बड़ा होता है ना, that means you will keep going.
Wow. And what's your most favorite chapter, I would say?
It is a non-fiction based upon my story so that it becomes a roadmap for somebody else when I'm gone.
Hey guys, welcome to Amrita Kunal Show. And today we have a very special guest with us whose journey is all about death to dreams. Yes, a person who would have been dead in 2018 because of his neck injury, stayed paralyzed almost for 6 to 8 months, and then creating a life for himself where he went on to become an author, a podcaster, an entrepreneur, a Josh Talk speaker, TED Talk speaker, and achieved so many things in his life. And this is just a beginning. So he is the best example of how we can give second chance to ourselves and make most out of it. So guys, let's today understand from Neeraj how exactly he created this life and also how we can take inspiration from his life. Hey Neeraj, welcome to our podcast, The Amrita Kunal Show. And we are super duper excited because I think you are one of the best examples out there that talks about our theme, that is pain to power. So we are looking forward knowing so much about your journey, what exactly happened, how did you go through it, and how did you create this whole life and what next now? So let's begin. Yes.
Thank you so much for having me, firstly, because it's a privilege to always be on a stage, because I feel when you are on a stage, you are held accountable by the God to act in the right way. That empowers people. Right? So I'm very, very looking forward to this conversation, and I hope this genuinely helps anybody in pain right now to rise to that power.
Wow, that's exactly the intention. So Neeraj, before we start and understand what exactly happened, I first would like to know what was that situation like? What exactly happened? What was happening? Of course, we never plan such things, or we never want such things to happen in our life. So what exactly happened? What you were doing? What kind of phase of life you were in? What was your age? We want to know everything about that particular incident.
About my accident, right?
Yes.
So it is 11th of Jan 2018 when the accident happened, around 7 in the morning. I was around 25 at that point of time, and I was returning from my office. And when I was driving back on my bike, there was a drunk auto rickshaw driver that hit me from the opposite way. And जैसे ऋतिक रोशन उड़ उड़ के गिरता है, वैसे मैं भी उड़ उड़ के गिरा. But I was lucky enough कि आजू बाजू में कोई झील नहीं थी. I just fell on the road, but the impact was so huge that I fell on my neck. My helmet broke into 3 pieces, and I was like blacked out for 5 minutes.
My God.
I still do not have memory of those 5 minutes. Like completely pitch black. And when I wake up, I just have this people staring at me, people looking at me, some were recording. And I was wondering, like, what is it? Why am I suddenly on the ground? Because I did not have memory of past 5 minutes. All I knew was I was riding, and suddenly I know that I'm on a road.
Next moment you're on the road.
Yeah.
People staring at you.
People staring at me, and it was a very shocking thing to happen. because you go to office, you come back every day.
Such a
It's a routine.
normal day, right?
Yeah.
Then what happened? Like, after that, like hospitalization, coming home, what kind of phase you went through?
So if I have to describe you that day, when I woke up, I took an auto rickshaw to my home. Luckily, it was near to my home.
In
And
that situation, you
yes,
actually walked.
yeah,
You took an auto.
yeah.
Oh my God.
And
This just, funnily makes me remember Saif Ali Khan's, just recent accident. I mean, the
Acha.
whole thing that happened when he went through this whole thing, he got stabbed and he had that capacity to actually take an auto and go to the hospital. It's something, all the heroic people maybe do something like this. Yeah, that's amazing. Yes, please go on.
that's very kind of you to subtly call me a heroic.
I thought of the exact same thing, that because when I read that, I was actually thinking that how someone who has got stabbed 3-4 times, can actually, catch auto and go to hospital and get himself hospitalized. But here I am. I'm actually sitting with a person and talking about this. So yes.
I think our history has been proof of the valor that we Indians have carried along the way, right? Like recently, the example is of movie Chhawa, where Sambhaji Maharaj was captured, but his will did not fainted for a bit, right? And that actually led to Aurangzeb's whole hierarchy to get finished in the later history of Marathas. But coming back to that day, I did stand up, and I took auto back to my home. And then the funny part here is that when I went to the first hospital, because the injury that I had was internal. Right? And I did not realize that I cannot, like, normally we move our neck like this, right? So I was moving like this.
Okay.
Subconsciously.
Yeah.
Because my neck was not able to function like it would in normal scenario.
Yes.
Right? And I had like normal accident bruises, I had a scar here, I had my knee, like the skin out of it ruptured. And then they thought, okay, bike accident hai. And they, patched me up with some dressing, and then they're like, ki, hum admit nahi kar sakte. So I was actually rejected from hospital. The first hospital I went, I was rejected. And I was like, should I be more broken to be admitted to hospital? Right?
Okay.
And then I went to second hospital. The same, and this time I even had dressings. So they're like, ab kya kare hum? You already have dressings also.
By then you had not realized that something is wrong with my neck.
No. Because I was so much in adrenaline at that point of time that I could not sense any pain in my body.
Okay.
Because the impact was so huge, and my internal bleeding was going on continuously, and that is the reason I was high and I could not sleep also. I was very, very high at that point of time because of the adrenaline in my blood, due to the impact of the accident. Yeah. So second hospital also rejected me because it's an accident case. You need to have an FIR. Us time tak FIR nahi ki thi. Then the third hospital, luckily, accepted me due to my father's reference, and then we told them, okay, this is an urgent case. Guess what was the name of the hospital? Sanjeevani.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, isme to entry honi thi, because the name is Sanjeevani.
Yes, exactly.
And I still remember that hospital and the Dr. Amit Mishra. He's like a angel in my life who saved me. And he came, and I think it was around 4 o'clock, till the point I finally got, after 2 rejections,
got admitted.
Yeah, got admitted. And then the FIR and stuff was done. Then the doctor comes and he assesses me. And then he just goes back to the medical staff and tells them कि इसको बैठना allow ही मत करो. He shouldn't be sitting. And at that point of time, he did not break the news to me that, there is a severe injury that has happened here. Because he did not wanted to, they don't know how the patient will take it, right?
Exactly.
And my parents were there, 25 साल का लड़का है, जवान लड़का है, accident हो गया, उसका गला टूट गया. It is a very weird news to break. So he wanted to take his time. So the next day, I went for an MRI scan. Because X-ray हुआ, blood, जो basic चीजें होती हैं, that happened. And he just got a slight hint of कि something major has happened. And till this point, it has not been broken to me as a news that, my neck has been broken. I was just given a soft collar that you must have seen a lot of old folks wearing for their neck.
Yeah.
And I was admitted, and I was just told that you should not sit, just lie down, relax. I was not given any painkillers till this point of time. I was normal medication जो होता है, वो. And I still remember by the night 11, finally the adrenaline started to wear off.
Oh.
I could not sleep that day. I was in agonizing pain the whole night because then I could actually feel what happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? And it started becoming more and more and more and more and more intense. And I can never forget that night. And then when I woke up and then I was taken to MRI scan, and that point of time also I was not allowed to move due to doctor's instruction.
By that time you had realized that this is what has happened and this is
No.
going to be my reality. Oh.
I just realized that something major has happened because I cannot be in such kind of pain without something major. I still am very unaware of what has actually happened to me. So this is very surprising. And then I'm taken to MRI, CT scan, and the whole cervical spine where the injury was. So neck is called cervical spine, and we have 7 bones into it. So when the MRI happened, I was taken literally on a stretcher.
Okay.
And there were 3 to 4 people carrying me from the room because I was on the 2nd floor to the place where the scan would happen, right? And us time pe, it was like, it is still one of the defining act of my life because imagine this, you are 25 and you are taken on a stretcher with 4 people. It is like background mein se Ram Ram Satya missing it. It is just like that because I'm not able to move.
Yeah, it's very scary and very eerie feeling.
Yes. And and I was contemplating so much in my mind that, what if, I don't know what has happened to me. I don't know nothing. But I was supposed to be in office at this point of time. I was supposed to be normal at this point of time. I was supposed to do what a normal human should do.
So you must be definitely thinking that why me, God, out of all billions of people, why me? Mere saath hi ye kyun ho raha hai?
Exactly.
Oh my God.
And I will answer this in the second half of the podcast. Why me?
Yes.
And I think this is the question which everyone asks.
Exactly.
I got this answer after 4-5 years, but I'll come to that in the end.
It took 4-5 years to get the answer.
Yes.
Wow, we would love to know this.
And the thing that happened was once the CT scan happened, the results came and the doctor knew exactly the amount of damage that has happened. And then I was suddenly the soft collar was replaced by a hard collar, Philadelphia collar. So I had this. So on neck, you cannot have plaster. So I had this physical brace, a hard physical brace, which points your chin to your chest for almost 3 to 4 months of my life. There was, and I could see that intensity now. Ki, "Hare, doctor dar gaya," the kind of thing. And then he immediately came after seeing the result. So we have 7 bones in our cervical spine, which is our neck, which is flexible by nature. Out of that, almost 4 to 5 were fractured. Out of 7. And then there is occipital lobe, which basically connects your spinal cord to your skull. So your skull has 2 insertions, right? There are gaps like this. So the left occipital lobe was shattered. So I could not sense my left part that much. So that was the kind of damage that happened. And then the doctor came and then the doctor told me the news, okay, this is what has happened. You might have blackouts for your rest of your life. You might have a lot of memory issues. You might have and he started doing this whole memory test, say ABCD, say numbers, because they want to test your short-term and long-term memory. So they will assess you for everything, like what kind of damage.
Where was your memory? As far as, this whole thing was there, were you able to remember things or actually started having blackouts?
It was foggy for that day of event, to be very honest. But luckily in my case, because he did mention to me this, because you stood up and you took the courage of not fainting and relying on other people, you took the auto.
Wow. How these small things can be defining moments.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And that is the reason he told that you survived from that memory damage because you used your memory to take the decision at that point of time. If you would have blacked out for longer than that, then it could have caused severe permanent damage to you. So I was able to talk to him, say the test and pass into it with good score.
So I must say one thing, sorry to interrupt you, that even at that time, this whole thing actually probably is, happening because you even at that time, you did not give up.
Yeah.
If you had given up, probably things would, the story might be different.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So it's a very funny thing. This is the first step of.
So looks like, part of destiny. This had to happen this way. This is, Oh my God. Even if I know you so well, still it feels
Yeah.
like, this part of story I never even imagined that it would come out like this.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so amazing. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I feel this was a very metamorphosis phase of my life.
Very true.
Like a butterfly.
Yes.
I was in a cocoon, not able to move, not able to do anything, had to learn to do everything like a baby as an adult, where you can feel, understand, hear everybody, but you are not supposed to move because you cannot move.
And this was for how many months?
So it lasted, to be honest, for an year. And from that, 6 months were extremely difficult, where I was.
For 6 months.
Yeah, because I was not allowed to sit. I was not allowed to even सोते सोते हम ऐसे turn लेते हैं ना. I was not allowed to do that. I could not feel the left part of mine for on and off because it was healing, right? Because your nerves get pressed, right? So I used to, and I was on painkillers for 3 months, straight up, like really on painkillers. Even with that painkillers, I was feeling the pain.
Goodness. And did doctor tell you this or made you realize or get you prepared for this, that this is what going to be, or did they give you some sort of, nahi acha ho jayega, this is the only time, or what was their word, like, to this whole situation?
So doctor and me had a very funny relationship, and I'm smiling saying this is because I challenged doctor. All of this thing happened and news broke out. This is and I told my mom, "अरे मम्मी TV लगाओ, तारक मेहता लगाओ यार, देखते हैं जो होगा देखा जाएगा." I was so optimistic in that point of time.
So you were optimistic or you were delusional? I would like to know this.
I was optimistic because I was very aware that I cannot fix the pain right now, right?
Okay.
But I can focus on what is the better part of this point. Like I can reflect on things right now. I cannot do anything else.
Yeah.
But my brain processing is focused on what I want to do from now.
Okay.
So मैंने एक चीज realize की अपने अंदर कि if I can think about a, let's say, optimistic approach, even when everybody around me is crying, or my mom is scared, or my father is scared, or my sister is scared, okay, नीरज को क्या हो गया, I'm wearing this brace. It is very damaging to the family.
Yes,
yeah.
Very. I mean, being a mother, I'm just thinking from your mother's point of view, what she must have gone through.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
And I was making them laugh.
So, Neeraj, I would like to know, of course, I will know, we will know more about your journey and everything. Were you always like this, or something just changed within you the moment this happened with you?
I think I was always like this, but it surfaced when this happened.
Oh.
Because I'll tell you why. If I would not have been an optimistic person or a person who would make good of any situation, I would not have applied that approach to in this situation as well.
This is truly a winner's attitude, right? That every negative thing you look at it either as an opportunity to get better, or, this is not going to keep me down. This is really, truly a winner's attitude, Wow, this is so amazing. Yes, please. I want to know that phase, because it's giving me goosebumps right now. I can't even imagine what you and your family must have gone through.
Yeah.
Then what was that, phase of first 6 months of very, very difficult time? Then what exactly happened that made you realize, no, I'm going to come out of it? What was that game changer?
So I'll talk about the relationship with the doctor. So his name is Amit Mishra. And I asked him this question, ki, doc, what is a typical time that a person would take to recover from this thing? And he said, Neeraj, आराम से 1 साल लगा लो आप. 1 साल तो मतलब, at least it will take 1 year for you to start walking again and doing stuff. At least an year for you to recover. मैंने painkiller कितने time तक लेते हैं लोग ऐसे typical में? 6 months, because it's a very intense pain. मैंने बोला, let's try to do it in 3 months.
Wow.
challenging doctor. Yeah. मैंने बोला डॉक्टर को कि okay, let's do it like this, कि मैं 3 महीने के अंदर I'll stop taking painkiller. आपने 6 महीने बोला, मैं उसका half कर देता हूँ. And in 6 months I want to start at least walking again.
Okay, so you reduced the
50% discount ले लिया मैंने अपने लिए. मैंने बोला कि ठीक है, ये तो normal लोग करते हैं ना, हम normal नहीं करेंगे हम.
Wow.
Normal नहीं करना.
Wow.
So I challenged doctor कि okay, you watch. 3 months I'll stop taking painkiller. 6 months I start walking, no matter what. And in fact, मैंने उसको ये बोला कि मेरे को walking नहीं start. मेरे को in 1 year I want to go to gym.
Oh.
I don't just want to start walking again. I want to achieve the best physical strength I can.
Even better than where I was earlier.
Yes.
Wow.
Amrita, I used to vomit when I used to do any physical activity before the accident. When I used to go to gym, I was never a gym head. Like abhi logo ko lagta hoga Neeraj into gymming and
So you
stuff
were
like-
not into gymming
yeah.
before?
No, I wasn't.
Oh.
In fact, whenever I tried it, it was very difficult for me. So I used to give up.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because अभी मैं किसी को बोलूँगा तो नीरज फिटनेस नीरज एक ही लगता है उनको. But I was not like that.
So even that, accident also gave birth to the
Yeah.
fitness freak in you.
Yeah.
Wow.
It just gave birth to what I was, which I was never aware of.
Wow. Neeraj, I would like to add one thing as a healer, as a Akashic reader, as a Reiki grandmaster. I always talk a lot about soul power. And my most favorite way of thinking or talking to my students is, do not believe in your 3D power. 3D is our physical world. This is the world that we are living in. Try to tap into that 5D world, which is your soul power. The moment you tap into that soul power, you will realize that you are unlimited, and every person in this world, on this earth, is unlimited. It's just that 99% people only tap into 3D power, and only 1% people are able to tap into that soul power, and these are the people who are changing the game of world today. And you actually unknowingly tapped into that soul power.
Yeah.
Wow. You are like truly the real living example of what I talk about.
And in fact,
So beautiful.
even on my podcast, like Dream with Neeraj Show, I had this guest, Ira, right? And she, scans your chakra. Like, she's into healing space as well. She has her own jewelry brand, Self Love Jewels. And when she met me and she scanned me as a human, she was scanning and it is there. She did tell me that, when this thing happened in your life, you activated your Kundalini. You must be very, very aware of it.
Yes.
Right? And because of that, you had so much of uprise in your own energy.
Yes.
And it was meant to transform you.
Yeah. Kundalini is actually soul power, if you realize that.
Yeah.
The 5D power.
Exactly.
We call it Reiki, we call it universal energy. It's the same. Wow.
Because physically, I was not able to move.
Yes. Then kaise hua ye sab? Like, there is no human logical explanation how you exactly achieved it.
Yeah.
हम बोलते हैं कि भगवान की देन है and everything, but everything भगवान and everything is, देखा जाए तो वो energy ही है वो.
So this is when I would say the birth of spiritual Neeraj happened.
Yeah.
Mahadev इस time पे मेरे life में enter किए without even me knowing about it.
That this is Mahadev.
Yeah, this is Mahadev. And मुझे तब समझ में नहीं आता था. तो when I go back to the story of me challenging my doctor, ये ऐसे हुआ. And I used to have my X-ray every week. Every week मेरा X-ray होता था to see the progress of my neck.
Okay.
Because क्या होता है कि when it is injured, it becomes very straight. But naturally, it has a curve.
Okay.
For flexibility.
Okay.
So once it starts healing, he used to always see कि नीरज का natural position में हाँ.
Oh.
Right. So I used to have this every week, and I was always surprising him through my results.
Wow.
X-ray में.
Wow.
मैं मतलब बोला था ना आपको देखो.
Wow.
मैं रन रेट लेके चलता था. किसी 7 कितने 5 गए ना, हमारे लेफ्ट वाला गया ना, देखो इस महीने में ये वाला होगा, इस महीने में ये 2 होंगे.
So not even once you felt that I want to give up. That's something that you were like, you were kind of challenging the your doctor, the whole world, the way people were perceiving you. And do you think that kept you going even during that situation? Because what you have gone through, it's very difficult to even imagine also the pain.
Yeah.
So what exactly kept you going apart from challenging your doctor?
I'll tell you a very interesting thing. When I went through the first night of agonizing pain without the painkiller, तो मेरे को ना बड़ा अच्छा कॉन्फिडेंस बूस्ट आया. मैंने बोला यार इसको सर्वाइव कर लिया ना मैंने. What I felt last night.
Yeah.
Then I think life is not that hard.
Oh.
Right? So मेरे में ना एक टॉलरेंस का गिफ्ट दे दिया ऊपर वाले ने.
Wow.
Right? So sometimes pain is blessing in disguise. So when I see this whole, and you are asking about that one moment, I still remember it. So first time I told you कि 3 months का था. तो मैंने 3 months में I reached to a level where my doctor allowed me to move my neck. So imagine this, I did not move my neck for 3 months. I was not allowed, yeah. And for the first time the braces got open, and I was given some exercises to like strengthen physiotherapy say and stuff like that, which I had to do every day. And for the first time in 3 months, I was not allowed to walk, but I did walk in my home in night when everybody was sleeping, and I was so fed up of like not moving. And when I moved for the first time and I went to the mirror to my washroom and I watched myself and I was given some exercise which I was told you can do it in the bed. I went to the mirror, I removed the brace, and I wanted to actually sink in whatever has happened and to see the future me in that mirror.
Wow.
The first time ever after the accident when I tried to freely move my neck is when I felt such excruciating pain that I had tears in my eyes, but I could not, there was no sound out of my mouth. It was like that when I moved my neck. And that is a time when I was almost about to break. कि नीरज यार सच में वापस से गला वैसे हो पाएगा क्या जैसे था?
That doubt.
That doubt. And when I moved it, it was like, it was so painful to move, but I had to do it to get better every day. So that taught me very, very important lesson in life. Sometimes you have to do things which are difficult for you to make you.
Very true.
And it taught me two things. First, to live in the present moment. I had just one act to do in my whole life. Everything faded away. मेरे लिए सबसे ज़्यादा important था कि मैं ठीक हो जाऊँ. I move and I move. Right? That was the only mission I had in mind. Everything, खाना, पीना, maybe TV series, Netflix, whatever is it. जो भी normal pain होते हैं आपकी life के अंदर. कोई छोड़ के चला गया, breakup हो गया. Everything faded away. The only mission I had was to become the best version of myself and to heal in the best possible way. तो जब वो self doubt आया, मैंने खुद को गोल दिया, only thing that I need to survive is one day. Forget about the life.
So you just took one day at a time and
Yeah.
you just went
Every day I knew कि मुझे बहुत दर्द होगा, उतना ही दर्द होगा जितना आज हुआ है. But फिर भी मुझे consciously वो करना है. Imagine this. You know it is painful. It is like walking on fire when you know you're walking on fire.
Right.
But you know that walking on fire will transform your mindset.
So you will still do it.
So you will still do it.
Wow. Wow.
And that is exactly what happened every day. So I was getting trained. And slightly the pain reduced, but because my mindset was getting stronger.
Wow.
मेरा tolerance बढ़ रहा
People
था.
talk about, motivational talks and all. You were actually living that motivational life for yourself. It's just
Yeah.
that the world did not know. And now, of course, world will know.
Yes.
But this is actually how the motivational speakers speak. And you literally lived when nobody was watching.
Yeah.
Wow. And do you think that that's exactly the reason you always say, Amrita, I don't believe in plan B? What
Yeah.
is that not believing in plan B? How it is related to, living this life? And of course, I also want to know what exactly happened after this 1 year. So yes, we will be asking that question, but plan B right now.
So I feel when you ask me about plan B, मुझे ऐसा लगता है ना लाइफ के अंदर, which is a fundamental rule right now, for me at least, is जब आप 100% देते हो ना, that is average. जब आप 101 देते हो ना, that means you are all in.
Wow. 100% is average for you.
Yes, it is average. And I have learned this from, I would say, give you a very realistic example. Muhammad Ali की मैं यहाँ पे कहानी share करना चाहूँगा. So he used to speak that I am a champion even before the battle has begun. And reporter asked him, आपको क्यों लगता है कि आप हमेशा जीतोगे? Why do you think that you are already a champion even before the ring? And he said, I know it by evidence. And he was like, कैसे? And then the reporter, then Muhammad Ali answered, my competition, who am I fighting, is going to do, let's say, 100 push-ups. I'll do 100 and then I'll start counting 101 as 1. If he does 20 pull-ups, I'll start counting my 21st pull-up as my first pull-up. So if I have beaten him in every possible metric before and outside the ring, how can he beat me inside the ring? There's no way.
Wow.
There's no way. And that is what I think should be the plan A strategy in your life. If you beat your competition in the skill set required by practicing it to a level and doing it for the longest of the time in the game, you eventually win the game.
Very true.
Right? So I never stick to the strategy of plan B because then मुझे ऐसा लगता है मैं plan A के साथ ईमानदार नहीं हूँ.
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
So that's my answer for.
Wow, amazing, amazing, amazing. Now coming back to the phase you were training yourself and you could feel it that something amazing is happening. And then how did you go back to that life, like job life, or what exactly happened? Then probably COVID must have happened.
Yeah.
Then what exactly happened? Because we all want to know this very, like interestingly, that what exactly you're creating today. How exactly this Neeraj was born through that accident?
So I would say it was my awakening phase.
Okay.
And the point was, when I was going through all of this, people might think, "Acha, Neeraj ka transformation ho gaya, so that was the achievement." No, that was the beginning for me.
Beginning for you. Oh.
And when I like, okay, ये सारी चीजें लो डॉक्टर के लिए भी impossible था. I became a case study for doctor. That I healed without an operation. I stopped taking the painkillers. I started moving well before that he planned me to move.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And when all of this happened, I started working with my job again remotely. I started to sit for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. And then ultimately I realized ki, okay, what I have gone through right now has given me some sort of a gift. I don't know what kind of a gift. Maybe it's mindset, maybe it's my attitude, maybe it's my tolerance level to the pain, whatever it is. But I think because I learned so much to live in that one moment, I was in that one moment.
Wow.
And when all of this 1 year happened and I started to walk again, I was still wearing the braces for 1.5 years in terms of the soft collar. So hard collar, say I came and onto the soft collar, I still had a lot of precautions. I could feel the wobble of my neck. Even when I used to sit in the car, speed breaker आएंगे, तो I used to feel that jerk. Because your bone is, recalcifying. Yeah, it's recalcifying. So all of those things happened. But पता है अमृता, तो मजेदार चीज ये है इस चीज के अंदर कि when I built myself brick by brick, then I realized the power of human potential is much, much more than what we think. हमें खुद को नहीं पता होता कि हमारा क्या खुद का क्या potential है.
Very true, very true. And did you then at that time you started feeling कि यार अभी लाइफ में ऑर्डिनरी तरीके से जी ही नहीं पाऊंगा? Did you started getting that kind of feeling? What exactly happened? Because whatever you have shared here, I'm sure everyone who's listening would imagine you cannot ever live a normal ordinary life, which every person lives. I can't even imagine that. So how exactly that happened in you, and how did you get into this life? Like the life that you're creating right now.
Okay, got it. So I'll divide it into 2 parts. पहले होता है introspection.
Yeah.
The first gift that God gives you is awareness.
Yeah.
Everything starts from awareness. तो जब मेरे साथ ये चीज हुई and I was into this journey, I realized कि okay, there is a bubble that has been popped, which might have popped when I actually die, maybe at the age of 70, but it happened at the age of 25.
Yeah.
Because imagine this, जब आप let's suppose being optimistic is one thing, but अगर मैं खुद को ये बोलूँ कि नीरज, okay, you survive and you get a second life, what would you want to do?
You cannot live that ordinary way.
मतलब what would you want to do?
Yeah.
Who is Neeraj? Are you satisfied with what you have?
You will ask all these questions which otherwise you wouldn't have asked.
You wouldn't have. What if you died? Are you happy with what you have done? Did you dream something? Did you want to try something? All of those questions. What I was doing is, you must be knowing about Vipassana, right?
Yeah.
So लोगों का 10 दिन का होता है, मेरा 6 महीने चला है वो. Because I was with myself introspecting for 6 months. That was the beautiful pause that I had. And I was facing those questions that maybe लोग अपनी कब्र में face करते होंगे.
True, very true.
Right? And because of that, my conversation with myself changed a lot. Self-talk.
Wow.
Which I think is the most important conversation that anybody has in his life.
True, yes.
The self-talk.
Yeah, self-talk. And how you are able to motivate or able to pull down.
Exactly,
yes.
Exactly. So when I had started to walk outside office or anything in the normal life, I started to see a difference between my thinking and
others' thinking.
The things that they would find problematic, I would be like, it isn't even a problem. Yes. Right? Somebody might be worried, आज खाना मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा. Somebody might be worried, कोई मुझे छोड़ के चला गया. And I was like, it might look like a problem, but it isn't. Once you start owning in your life, And once you have solved bigger puzzles for you, this everything becomes
Looks
so
very
easier.
simple, very true. And you can't relate to exactly
Yeah,
to that
I was not.
discussion, to that conversation. So did you also start feeling at that time that, maybe the job that I'm doing, even though it's, helping me
Yeah.
grow, helping me earn, is not exactly aligning with my thoughts? What exactly was happening as far as career point of view? Because you were probably like just 26, 27
Yeah.
year old. So career, you were at your peak as far as the career is
Yeah.
concerned.
Yeah.
So what exactly was happening? That did you feel that war happening within you? What
Yeah.
exactly I want to do with my career?
So I was into turmoil for almost 5 years. 2018 accident happened. 2023 I quit my job
Oh,
on my birthday.
okay.
So I always tell this to people. 2018 was my physical trauma. 2023 was my mental trauma.
Okay.
Because 2018 में मुझे किक तो लग गई थी कि okay, what you have gone through is for some purpose. मतलब महादेव ने अगर करा है तो किसी पर्पस से करा है.
Exactly.
ठीक है. And the feedback came to me when I went to, let's suppose COVID happened. 2020 COVID happened when I was recovering and I was just barely able to do normal stuff again. COVID happened. And when COVID happened, it again gave me a bubble of introspection again after healing space because travel come ho gaya,
Yes,
people.
you got more time for yourself.
Yes, I got more time to myself. Then I actually started my fitness ka thing.
Okay.
And I challenged myself that I was 100 kgs after the accident when I was recovering.
Oh,
I was lying because you lose all of your muscle, everything. You're not moving now.
yes.
So I went to 100 kgs and I could not see myself in the mirror because I had never been 100 kgs. I used to be breathless even if I walked 2 steps, which is very difficult for me. I've never experienced that in my life.
Yeah.
Right? So I challenged myself and I told my sister that in 9 months from now, I'll get abs, I'll be at this body weight, and I'll have very good physique. Without going to gym, I started doing 2 push-ups. I used to fall down, and I set target of doing as many possible in a day in a break. मैं यही कर रहा था. I used to work in a laptop. Then in between I will try as many push-ups as possible, fall. Then and slowly it started going to, let's say, 10, then 15, then 20 in this whole thing. And then I started to work on myself, understand me more and more and more. And then slowly I started to see myself change in the mirror.
Wow. Best feeling ever.
And exactly 9 months from that time, I had abs.
Wow.
I had a physique. The day when I entered the gym, people were talking to me and saying, how did you do that? Manala, I was thinking I am supposed to build from gym, right?
Wow.
But when I'm entering the gym, this is something that people dream of. Like, this is not my dream. This is the bare minimum that I have to do. And then when these people realized कि okay, इसने ये घर पे किया है and he has come from an accident. So I started minus से.
Yes, very true. Minus.
Minus से.
Yeah, exactly.
Without anybody guiding me,
Yeah.
without anybody coaching me. But I was running with it for like more than 100%. वो मेरे लिए plan A से भी ऊपर था. A plus plan था मेरा वो.
Exactly. You did the same thing. 100 से भी ज़्यादा करो.
Exactly. और वो लोगों का bare minimum भी नहीं था.
Very true.
और जो उनकी ड्रीम फिजिक थी वो तो मेरी स्टार्टिंग थी.
Yes, that must have made you realize that
Yeah.
this is something different.
Yeah, and I started to have this
In
conversation
the
with
most humble way, I can see
Exactly.
that. In the most humble way, not in that rude way.
egoistic way में कभी
Yes.
नहीं लिया. And then I thought कि यार जो मैंने किया, it is very difficult for people, and I never thought like that.
Yeah, for you it was like normal way of living. कुछ नहीं करना है तो let me just
हाँ.
get better.
Because for a guy who was not moving, let's say for 6 months, who was almost paralyzed, उसके लिए तो move करना सब कुछ है.
बहुत बड़ी बात है.
बहुत बड़ी बात है.
Very true.
And जो benchmark मैंने अपने लिए set किया था that I want to become a power lifter now. And I told my doctor because I heard these stories. I still remember a couple of movies of great champions. Even Muhammad Ali का भी मैंने तभी interview देखा because these people have gone through so many injuries in their life and they have come back like 10x or 15x of what they had before that.
Wow.
तो मैंने जब ये जर्नी को फेस किया and then people started coming to me, okay, this is something that is very difficult to do and you have managed to do it on your own without any gym, without any. And that is when I realized there is something in me cultivating that I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
And that started inspiring people, which I never wanted to do. मेरा कोई ऐसा था नहीं कि यार मेरे से inspiration ले लो.
Yeah.
I was just being myself and people were getting inspired.
You being yourself was inspiring
Yeah.
people. Wow.
And I was like कि धीरे धीरे समझ में आ रहा है. And then this whole I obviously became active with the gym. COVID आया, COVID में मैं वापस घर पे कर रहा था. वहाँ पे तो एक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हो गई घर पे because of COVID. फिर COVID बंद हुआ. Then I started to doing proper powerlifting. So in like let's say 2018, my accident happened. By 2020 and ka end or 21, I was actually lifting almost 3 to 4 times of my body weight.
Wow.
Today I can lift 5 times of my body weight,
Wow.
which is insane. I am almost 74. I can do a deadlift of 200 kgs. I can squat 180, which is insane still for me.
Yes, but you are able to do it.
But I'm able to do it because I gave myself no other option.
Wow.
And this is when I realized, Neeraj, if you can apply this formula to, let's say, physical fitness, it is applicable to every walk of life.
Yes.
And that is the journey कि मेरे को 2023 आया फिर, and I was in this turmoil of there is something in me that needs to come out.
You are feeling suppressed.
Yeah,
You're not able to give
and I was
time and respect to that.
Exactly, and I was going towards depression in that phase, to be very honest. Matlab, not when I was in the job, but if I would have continued the job, I was earning very well. I was the best goddamn employee they had. Like I won awards every year. Even after my accident recovery, that month also when I rejoined my office, I was the star employee.
Wow.
So
But something within you did not allow you to enjoy that because you were not meant for it. Now we can see this.
Honestly, I was thinking कि यार इस situation में तो कोई मेरे से expect नहीं करेगा ना to be the best. तभी तो बनना है best.
Wow.
Because this is something that a normal person would not do.
Exactly.
This is what sets me apart. So I started doing this, and then 2023, I was in this turmoil of quitting, not quitting. I was 29 by this point of time. I like it. ठीक है चलो यार, कुछ आंसर मैंने अब तक खुद को नहीं दिए थे कि who is Neeraj? Do I regret something? What do I want to do? So some questions were still unanswered. I learned that I have the capacity to do it. But क्या करना है? कैसे करना है? It was still a fill in the blanks. And I'm coming to the birth of dream with Neeraj here. So when I quit, and I quit on my birthday,
wow,
4th of March, 2023.
Again, new birth.
And I gifted myself 1 year. And I told, ये साल नीरज का. नहीं पता है, कोई बात नहीं. There is a line, unknown pain is far more scarier than known pain.
So true. So true.
Right? And that is why people are scared of uncertainty.
That's why they don't want to take risks.
That's why
so many people stay just stuck or maybe ordinary simply because they don't want to try out.
मतलब ये वही बात होगी कि यार मुझे लोकल ट्रेन से ट्रैवल करना अच्छा नहीं लगता, बट मैं अब 10 साल से कर रहा हूँ तो मुझे पता है कि मैं कर सकता हूँ.
हाँ, तो मैं कर रहा हूँ. पूरी लाइफ ऐसी ही
जाऊंगा और फिर मैं कोसूंगा भी अपने आप को कि यार मेरे को करना तो नहीं था, बट मैं करते गया तो करते ही गया.
Yes, very true.
But I put a hard stop to it, and I took this decision. I go and like spoke to my mom कि you might not understand me at this point of time, but I've decided to quit. And I had some capital. I took the best insurance for my parents and stuff like that. Okay, I don't need to ask any money from anybody. I have savings and I have my stuff. Let's go all in for Neeraj once in lifetime. That's my gamble. Because I don't know how I got the guts. मेरे को अभी भी लोग मैसेज करके पूछते हैं तो मैं guts कैसे आया 29 पे you were at
exactly 29 पे जॉब छोड़ना, पेरेंट्स को पटाना ही बोलना चाहिए. Yeah, that's the right word. So then how did this Dream with Neeraj podcast came? Like was this a decision, like well thought decision, or it just organically happened?
So I tell this to people that you never have clarity in the start. You find it along the way, but you need to start to find the clarity.
Start somewhere.
Yeah, so मेरे को मार्च में मैंने क्विट किया. 14th of August is when Dream with Neeraj as a brand got birth.
Wow.
And today is 14th.
Oh wow, yes.
And and बाद में मैंने realize किया that there is a significance to this number. 5 months मुझे लगे to almost go into that pain mentally and to come out of it, because I was stripped away of my all titles. I was judged. वो होता है ना समाज में, जैसे एक मैन को देखते हैं आप.
exactly.
उसमें कुछ भी नहीं था.
anything. Oh, you quit your job. Oh, कुछ तो कमी होगी, कुछ तो प्रॉब्लम होगा.
हाँ, but ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था. I took a conscious decision when I was.
And this cannot go well with the society. Exactly. कि like कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
Correct. मतलब खुद प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर रहा है अपने जीवन के अंदर.
प्रॉब्लम खुद क्रिएट कर रहे हो. For a guy, it's huge.
Exactly. मतलब आपको उस टाइम पे लोग बोलते हैं अरे बच्चे कर लो, शादी कर लो, so many other
शादी के
things.
लिए कोसने के टाइम हो गया कि
हाँ.
अरे वो भी शादी कभी करो तो that time तो you were like quitting everything
Yeah.
and getting into something uncertain.
In fact, I was on a verge of promotion. They tried to give me कि नीरज रुक जा. There's so many things.
Literally tried testing you कि
Yeah,
देखते
everything was enticing.
How much you're sure of quitting everything and starting something huge.
It was very hard, and I still remember the conversation, and my firm beautifully supported that because I was blessed enough कि जो मेरे को वहाँ पे उस टाइम पे mentors थे, मेरे reporting manager and my vice VP and stuff like that. They always saw कि नीरज कुछ तो बड़ा ही करेगा.
Yeah, he's
इतना
not
तो
meant for this.
या उनको पता है कि नीरज में चुल तो है कि ये करेगा तो कुछ तो करेगा ये मतलब because I was always sitting with people not my level but let's say 4-5 levels above me even in the organization.
Wow.
Because
And
I
you
had that
felt
mindset.
comfortable.
Yeah, they felt comfortable.
Yeah.
मेरे लिए तो वो privilege थी.
Very
But
true.
उनके लिए वो करना जरूरी नहीं था.
Very true. Very true.
Right. And when this whole dream with Neeraj happened was जब ये stripping हुई और ये सब कुछ हुआ, I still remember I read this book How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie.
Okay. Yeah, it's a beautiful book.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there is a line in that book that actually brought me out of depression.
And what was that?
And the line is that most amount of deaths happening today are not because of diseases. It is because of worrying.
So very true.
And worrying about the things that are not a reality yet.
Yes.
And that hit me very, very hard. मैंने बोला यार मैं उस चीज को लेकर डर रहा हूँ जो है ही नहीं रियलिटी.
Yes.
कितनी गजब बात है ये.
Very true. Very true.
And then I decided कि okay, let's take all the actions possible. I literally made an ikigai wala Excel sheet. What can I do? I can sing, I can dance, I can speak, I can record.
Wow.
I literally made an Excel sheet, a board, and I wrote down कि अच्छा मेरे को सारे shots लेने हैं.
Wow.
जो भी लग जाए.
You know what, Neeraj? You of course you continue, but you are actually the perfect example of a person who is feeling stuck. Can be in 20s, 30s.
Yeah.
Age is not a barrier here, and wants to do something and doesn't understand what exactly need to do. They just need to listen to you, or even if they listen to this particular podcast, they will get so many ideas that if this person can do it and start from here, then what can I do? At least I have not gone through something that he has gone through.
Yeah.
You have literally kind of lost out on 1 or 2 years
Yeah.
because of this whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And wow, amazing. Please go on. This is so amazing to know. Yes.
It's like when I see and look back of this whole contrast, now I see it like, and you're talking about this how people feel stuck at some
Yes.
point of time. So there's a very interesting notion I would tell them to ask themselves before even quitting. Let's say I don't feel quitting is bad, but before quitting, how many things have you tried? People try 2 things, 3 things at max, and then they tell मैं किसी के लिए नहीं बना हूँ. Take 20 things. Then you will understand अरे इसमें से मेरी 10 फेल हो गई, 5 के अंदर मैं थोड़ा अच्छा था, उसमें से ऐसी 1 या 2 आएंगी जिसके अंदर तुम्हारा तुक्का लगेगा.
Wow.
At least try 20 things before you say that I tried.
Don't give up for immediately.
मतलब people का जो notion होता है ना अमृता trying का
Yes.
is of taking.
I've tried everything. कितनी चीजें,
हाँ.
2-3 चीजें. हाँ.
And they can't even name 5 things that they have tried. 5 things.
Very true.
If I ask somebody कि यार मेरे लिए लाइफ बनी नहीं है, मेरे को इतनी दिक्कत है, ये प्रॉब्लम है, वो they have not tried more than 5 things in their whole life.
So that actually makes me, ask you one thing, that if today you come across any person who is in pain, physical pain, emotional pain, going through some, huge breakup or wants to give up on life, is suicidal probably, and if you meet that person without being that gyani kind of person, because nobody wants to have that gyan kind of thing, but what kind of cool advice you would like to give that person, which will always stay with them? I'm sure you have met many.
Think less, act more. That's it. Like, I don't want myself to have the time to even think. Like, if I can act more than I can think, that means I'm beating a lot of people.
Wow. So you just think, you take action, and, you just get to see what it wants to give you.
Yeah. So let me give you a very interesting context. There is a lot of problem with overthinking. A lot of people. मेरे पास एक resource है, मैं ये करूँ या वो करूँ, right? Should I go with decision A? Should I go with decision B? What if you try both decisions A and B?
Yeah.
Instead of wasting the 3 months कि मैं A करूँ या B करूँ, try both of them.
Yes.
You will 100% know when you try to either try both of them कि यार ये दिल से नहीं करना था, मैं ऐसे तुक्के में बोल रहा था कि करना है. Or when you try both of them, you know कि अच्छा ये तो चला ही नहीं.
Very true.
So instead of pressurizing yourself to figure it out in your head, let the world figure it out. जितना टाइम तू वेस्ट करोगे ये सोचने में कि करना है कि नहीं करना है, कर दो, पता चल जाएगा.
Very true, very true.
So why waste it?
Wow.
That is the only difference between, I think, the achievers and the people who just keep dreaming or just keep telling themselves a lie.
Yeah, this is so true that, people who just dream, talk, I want to do this, I want to create this, I want to give you this, and they just talk. And then there are second set of people who think, dream, and they take action.
Yeah.
And you literally actually belong to that category, that you have that idea, you take action, and then you realize that, okay, this is working for me.
Yeah.
And most of the things are working for you because, I very strongly feel that we all are getting that thoughts are not thoughts, they are actually guidance. The way you say that, Mahadev ki kripa hai, वही आपको ये सारे guidances दे रहे हैं, and if you just think and you just sit on it, it's just gone, right?
See, motivation is momentarily.
Exactly.
Act on it.
Very true.
People don't understand this. Motivation is never permanent. Even inspiration is never
Very
permanent.
true. And that's why so many people say कि ये affirmation है, ये manifestation, ये कुछ होता नहीं है, because you don't take action on it, right? So what exactly, Neeraj, I want to know this, through this Dream with Neeraj podcast, you are achieving, or what has been your best moment, or, it's been like last 1.5 years you have been into it. What you feel you have achieved through it, and what was that best moment of this podcast?
See, I'll tell you the best one, 100%, but I'll create a contrast here.
Okay.
Same for manifestation in this.
Yeah.
I don't think manifestation is magic or something spiritual. It's purely logical.
Yeah.
Like, I never used to believe in manifestation. ठीक है? I used to believe कि अगर आप किसी चीज़ में effort लोगे, actions लोगे तो वो चीज़ होगी. Right? When I quit, I wrote a letter to myself. ये चीज़ें नीरज 1 साल में कर लेगा. I got all of them plus something else. Right? And I am a very big advocate of intentional living. The same guy who was supposed to die in 2018, right? 2023, when I read this book and I started taking actions, think less, act more, I bloody put out 200 videos in almost 70 or 80 days on Instagram and all the social media handles.
Wow.
Right? And that got me, let's say, first 10,000 followers, 15,000 followers. And then I knew कि, okay, I can do this. But कितने वीडियो डाले मैंने? 200.
Yes.
On my own. I edited it, I crafted it, I spoke to it, and I was just speaking to myself, thinking कि मेरे ऐसा कोई ना कोई तो बाहर होगा.
Yes.
I just wanted to document myself. And when I started receiving this message, okay, I was gonna commit suicide today, I was gonna give up on myself today, I was facing this problem, your video saved me. I realized, okay, hence I was gone through this.
Now I'm getting my sole purpose.
Yeah.
That I was supposed to do this, and that's why I was feeling empty while working.
I have seen, Amrita, so many people quitting their job and going back to a job in a year.
Yes, very true.
ऐसा नहीं होता कि मैंने जॉब क्विट किया तो मैं सक्सेसफुल हो जाऊंगा, बहुत बोल्ड डिसीजन ले लिया तो मैं सक्सेसफुल हो जाऊंगा. You have to back it up with act.
Action. Yes.
I have worked 4 to 5 times what I have worked in that whole 10 years of my corporate in that 1 year. उस 10 साल को मैंने 1 साल में डाल के फिर उसको निचोड़ा है. That is the amount of work that I have put in. So इतने actions लिए मैंने उस 1 साल के अंदर कि that 14 को obviously the Dream with Neeraj got created कि चलो, and that is why I kept it Dream with Neeraj.
Wow.
क्यों मेरे साथ सपना देखो यार, खुद नहीं देख पा रहे हो तो मेरे से हिम्मत ले लो थोड़ी सी.
Yes, very true.
Right? And that is what I honestly want to do. So the why of my life is to be someone that can inspire people to see a better future for themselves. Simple as that. That's one single project of my life.
And any particular, incident that has stayed with you, that, somebody, probably a follower, came to you and shared something because how that person had changed their life or shifted their mindset because of you, which will always and always stay with you. One such example that comes in your mind?
मतलब ये
I am sure many are
बहुत
there.
सारे हैं, बहुत सारे.
एक जो हमेशा याद रहेगा.
I think I will share 2 if I can.
Okay, please.
Because I think these made me quite emotional. The first one was in a metro, Bombay ki metro mein. So there was an introvert kid, 20ish. He was following me, and he started speaking with me, and
so that was your celeb moment kind of thing.
More than that, Amrita, when at the end of conversation, he told me, and he took a video and a selfie with me. And बोला कि मैं introvert हूँ बहुत. I never come in front of camera, and he requested me कि even if you post this or something, don't post my face into it. But
so he told you.
Yeah, but he told me I want you to take it because I want you to always keep creating content because it changed my life.
Wow.
40 minutes he spoke to me and he told me exactly कि आपने ये डाला था ना उससे मेरा ये वाला चीज़ अच्छा हुआ, ये डाला था ना उससे, and he spoke to me for 40 minutes being an introvert, शायद उसके हाथ काँप रहे थे, but he spoke to me.
And he had watched your each and every video
Yeah.
so properly, like he knew everything, smallest of the details.
And the thing that he could take away was कि उस बंदे में courage आई उस चीज़ से.
Wow.
So बोला ये मेरे लिए मैंने कभी नहीं किया and I am somebody who will never come in front of a camera, but मैं चाहता था कि आप ये feel करो कि आपकी वजह से क्या हो रहा है, and that is why he shot a video with me.
Oh my God.
Only for me,
Wow.
not for him, and I did not ask it.
Like, you please keep doing it because you are blessing
Yeah.
to so many like us. That's
Yeah.
what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the second one was this creator Prince Oshan, Gagandeep Singh उसका नाम है, सरदार है. So that was one of my videos which went to I think 2 million views. तो उसमें से he came back to me, he invited me to his podcast. वो भी release नहीं हुआ है, but we shot when I was in Delhi.
Okay.
And in that podcast he told me that my whole everything that you see right now is because of you.
Oh my God.
Because he was bullied. He has his own traumas. But उसने बोला आपको जब मैंने सुना था ना कि एक बंदा था जिम से जो बोल रहा था कि हर मिडिल क्लास बंदा एक सपना देख सकता है. That video really hit me, and then I started working and I started taking actions, and then I was keep watching you to keep myself on that track, and which led me to build all of this that you see.
Wow.
He's earning 5-6 lakhs a month from nothing, and he dedicated that to me.
Wow.
I did not even know I could touch so many lives, and this is like 2 example of so many.
Yeah,
And I never
sure.
thought कि यार मेरे एक वीडियो बनाने से, and I was still thinking पोस्ट करने से पहले कि यार ये तो stupid सी चीज़ है, मैं क्या ही पोस्ट कर रहा हूँ.
Wow.
But it literally changed the trajectory of somebody's life.
Somebody's life. And Neeraj, I would like to know one thing, that now that you are realizing that everything that you are doing, something that you feel even sometimes stupid also, that is changing so many lives. How does it make you live your life more intentionally? Does it make you think that no, before I do this, I have to think about people? How does it change your life?
So I think जब आपका why आपके problem से बड़ा होता है ना, that means you will keep going.
Wow. आपका why आपके problem से बड़ा होता है. Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. Because a lot of time I wanted to give up. I did not give up because it is not my personal vendetta.
This is going to be my favorite sentence, by the way. आपका why आपके problem से जब भी बड़ा होता है, तभी you just keep going. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
अगर मैं अपने अकेले के लिए ही कर रहा
That's
होता.
my takeaway from this podcast, 100%.
Thank you. अच्छा लगा, तो बहुत सही बात है. Because I feel अगर मैं अपने लिए ही कर रहा होता ना अमृता, तो मैं कब का छोड़ दिया होता, कब का.
Wow.
But because, and I would have almost lost in that battle of depression if those messages did not come to me, कि Neeraj, this happened. And that is why I create. That is why the podcasting theme came into me. मेरा ये सारी चीज़ें हुई, couple of videos went viral, then उसके exactly 1 year में my Josh Talk happened. Right? उसके 3 months में my TED also happened. So same लड़का maybe जो give up करने वाला था 2018 में, he became a power lifter. Then उसने 2023 में जब पूरे ज़माने ने उसको जज किया after quitting his job, he became a Josh Talk and a TEDx speaker. He created his own brand. आज I am a founder of Soccial Symphony. I have employees from an employee
being
to
an employee
entrepreneur.
Yeah, exactly. To
So,
having employees.
Yeah, आपको लग रहा होगा कि यार क्या ही ट्रांजिशन है, 3 वर्ड है उसके अंदर. बट भाई मैं पूरा तोड़ के मैंने अपने आप को नया बनाया है to
Literally तोड़ के, actually, in a
very literal sense.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Yeah. So imagine this now, so many wins. Josh Talk, TED Talk. I've met very big shot people. When I quit, I went to Uttarakhand for solo trip. I mentioned you this
Yeah.
off camera. अकेले गया मैं वहाँ पे केदारनाथ, बद्रीनाथ, गंगोत्री, यमुनोत्री, staying with those villagers. When you start questioning things that you're scared of, you start achieving the growth that you never tapped into.
Wow, so true.
Right?
Very true.
And that is the crux of giving yourself a second chance.
Wow.
If I would have just quit on the day it accident happened, or if I would have just quit when somebody says कि नीरज तेरे से नहीं हो पाएगा, I would have quit.
Wow. Wow.
Right?
Now, and Neeraj, I want to know more about the book that you have written.
Yeah.
We are so looking forward. I'm sure by the time this podcast comes out, the book also would have come out.
Yeah, it's
so
out,
looking forward to that. But I want to know what exactly also made you write that book. What kind of efforts you have taken? Because we normally get to hear so many things that people ask others to write it down. What kind of the journey that you have had
Yeah.
with this book? And what are you hoping out of it?
So I think you should be able to find the book's link in the description below.
Yes.
And it's definitely out because I've submitted it to the publisher. So finally, that is also I became an author as well, Amrita. So the book actually is volume 1.
Okay.
And
Volume one.
Yeah, I intend to write at least 7 volumes like Harry Potter.
Oh.
कि मैं 7 volume लिखूं, but it is a non-fiction based upon
Okay.
my story because I like to document my whole life so that it becomes a roadmap for somebody else when I'm gone.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So
So
in
what
the
it's all about?
yeah, so volume 1 is all about from my accident to me creating Social Symphony and for the podcast. वो जो पूरी journey रही है उसकी and
अब तक की you mean
अब
to
तक
say.
की journey जो रही है and the intention है it is like a very precise toolkit of 100 pages for anybody who wants to live an unconventional path or who can dare to dream.
Wow.
Right, so it will give you exact roadmap of what will happen with you, how do you come out of it, what you need to think, what kind of a mindset you need to have. It's like a pure toolkit. You can finish it in 4 hours.
Oh my God. And what's your most favorite chapter, I would say, from that, if you have to tell us?
Yeah, I think the most, I would summarize it in one line, is that we think that there are certain things which are free. Nothing is free in life. You either pay with your time or with your money. Right? This is one of the very big lessons that I've learned from anyone who is very successful in life. They understand the value of time.
Yes.
And I have explained it with the example of a coach only, that you might be in a job doing and earning a X amount of salary into it, right? Maybe you can earn all of that salary in a day.
Yes, very true.
Where you have sold some of your skill which you can do very, very good.
Very
Now the value of your time increases exponentially in that way.
Very
So your ultimate goal of life, if you want to be, let's say, financially free, spiritually free, in any way, the value of your time should be so much that even if you do nothing, people want to take and buy that time
Wow.
from you.
Wow. Amazing.
Right? So that is one of the gifts that I have given in that book.
Wow. And if somebody is, again, the same question that I had asked you for the podcasting thing, I'm asking this, repeating the same question. If somebody is right now going through, say, a difficult time, and how this book will help them to come out of it?
Because this book is very authentic. One of the reasons I quit my job was for this book. Because when I knew that I will fall, I wanted to document that fall.
Wow.
Because only then it can help somebody who has fallen and wants to come to sky.
That's so amazing. What a journey, what a life. But I'm sure this is just a beginning.
Yeah.
So what's next now? So 2-3 years down the line, where do you see Neeraj, Dream with Neeraj, and the whole brand?
So I tell this to people, you have to fall to fly.
Okay.
Right? And that is when you find your true wings. And I think I am still yet to achieve my full potential. I may be at 20-25ish. That is what I feel in my head.
75% yet to...
Yeah, and that is what makes me so excited. And with the podcast as well, with Social Symphony, obviously, we want to scale it very big, which is happening very beautifully. Then with the podcast as well, I feel, and the reason I told you about the podcast is I want to give roadmap to people.
Yes.
From the people I have conversations with. I want to evolve myself. I want to lay out a roadmap for anybody who wants to maybe become an actor, anything, anyone fighting for their dream. So Dream with Neeraj show is not going to stop until I die.
Wow.
Simple as that.
Wow.
Because one conversation, I truly, truly believe, Amrita, can change anybody's life.
True. Very true.
In fact, one sentence.
One sentence. I am going to, actually think about it 10 times, after this podcast gets over, and I'm going to always have this particular thing, because, many people have asked this question to me also, Amrita, how exactly do you, you keep doing this? And I never used to get that answer. This is the perfect answer, actually, that, when your why is bigger than your problems, you just keep going. Wow. And I'm sure that your why is so big that you're never going to feel tired even when you're like feeling burnt out
Yeah.
physically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such an amazing conversation we had. Neeraj, I am super happy, and I know that whoever would listen to this podcast is going to have that shift in the energies, because having problems is one thing, and looking at problems as a blessing and making gold mine out of it is something आप ही कर सकते हो. And maybe may after listening to this podcast, every person would be inspired to do the same. So thank you so much for being here and inspiring all of us, and we all are wishing you all the very best in life.
Thank you so much, Amrita. I would just love to end it with one message that you asked me in the start of the podcast. Why me?
Yes, and why not? Let's see what life
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah.
That
so
kind of feeling.
इसका आंसर मैं देना चाहूँगा, and I recently made a post on this as well, that कभी-कभी why me का आंसर सिर्फ next 3 word होते हैं. Sometimes only you can.
Wow.
Sometimes only you can.
Why me? Because only you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And I have always believed that. मतलब महादेव knew कि नीरज इससे बाहर आ सकता है, इसलिए नीरज को दे सकता हूँ.
And नीरज ही इसमें से बाहर आ सकता है.
हाँ.
To show this to everyone.
Yeah. एक कोयले और एक हीरे में क्या फर्क होता है?
He's the best example. And that's why he put you into that.
Yeah.
Because he knew that you will be coming out, because your job was to, inspire millions and millions of people. Is what you think?
I think कि कोयले और हीरे में कोई फर्क नहीं होता. The only difference that, which is there, is that it endures the weight of the entire mountain. That is why it is a diamond.
Very true.
Right? If you can endure it, you become diamond. That is the process.
So very true.
Every problem in your life is an opportunity.
Wow.
Every problem.
problem. Very true.
So मैंने कभी problem को problem की तरह देखा ही नहीं.
देखा ही नहीं है.
And the last message would be, failure is not opposite of success. It is path to success.
Wow.
You fail to succeed forward.
Super.
So that is how I would love to end it.
Thank you so very much. We are always going to remember these words. Thank you.
Thank you, Amrita.